I love playing dual screen games and I love my RP5, but I wish that I could play those sorts of games on this thing. Oh wait, I just had the best idea. Hang on. Oh yeah, this is way better. Hey there, how's it going? I'm TechDweeb, welcome. Thanks for clicking on the video today. If you had asked me like a month ago if it was worth getting into dual screen handheld stuff, I would have said something like, no, don't even bother. Too janky, not worth it. But that's old me. And old me is a stupid dum-dum. New me would probably say something like, you know what? Yeah, this is actually pretty cool, actually. And then future me will be all like, the AI is taken over. Humans are done for. You will survive only as long as your ammo and canned goods can sustain you. Also, dual screen gaming was actually pretty cool after all. Because, yeah, as it turns out, dual screen Android devices are pretty neat. I'm pretty sure that everyone agrees that dual screen gaming is a cool thing. Playing DS and 3DS and Wii U on your Android handheld with two screens is the best way to play those games, right? But there's actually a ton of other sneaky little things that having an extra screen can do for you. And we'll talk about those today. The Retroid dual screen add-on is the first mass market dual screen add-on for handhelds to land for us. It's not the first one to be announced though. There's that DNA Dual thing that was announced before the Retroid, and I'm honestly super excited about that. I'm excited to check that out when it's released. And there's also dual screen handhelds like that 1X Sugar thing, and dual screen PC handhelds have been a thing for a while. But this Retroid screen is going to be how most people dip their toes into the dual screen pond for the first time. I've waded a little way out, maybe ankle deep, and the water seems inviting. Let's dive in, shall we? Here's the box. There's a picture on the front, some Retroid logos, a few words around back. In there is the device, safely packaged. We'll come back to that. And the cable will be in there. However, my version doesn't have the official cable. This cable is just a temporary cable so they could get it to me early. The actual cable is going to be this like thin flush cable that slides in there. It'll be way better. This screen is the same screen that we have on the Retroid Pocket 5 and the Flip 2. It's a 5.5-inch AMOLED display. Freaking gorgeous. That's the best part about the Retroid Pocket 5. The screen. It has 107% sRGB coverage, 100,000 to 1 contrast ratio, and 500 nits peak brightness. The price is $69 nice, and you can get some add-ons as well. You'll also pay shipping on top of that, so expect another $15 or $20 or whatever. I'll include a link in the thingy below, and I would do anything if you would use my link to buy this if you do. Anything. It comes in 3 colorways. There's a black version and a clear white version and a GameCube colorway to match their GameCube style RP5. And there's two models, and really it's just the hinge and clip mechanism that's different. This is the Retroid version that I have, which officially supports the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro and the RP Mini and the RP Mini V2 and the RP5. However, if you get the other devices version, this clip area is bigger, and that it can fit larger devices like the Odin 2 and the Portal, but probably any of the 6 to 7 inch screen devices. You can actually get either version and then also buy an extra back clip so that you can swap this part around. Just a screw in there to remove, I think. I'll show you that when I get my official version soon. I also ordered the official grip for the RP5, and they also came out with a dual screen case, a special case that fits the RP5 with the screen on it. I ordered that too. It's made of what feels like a similar plastic to the back of the RP5, which is kind of dense and firm plastic with a slight texture to it. On the left side, we have brightness buttons. You can't control the screen brightness from the system, so these will let you do that. It's a kind of a neat feature. On the right side is a USB-C hole, which allows pass-through charging. Only charging though, not OTG stuff. I tried plugging in a keyboard and no, it did not become a computer. Here's the clip. This bottom piece pulls down, spring-loaded. It's got rubber grips on the inside to hold your handheld nice and snug, like a gentle but firm hug. There's open areas on the bottom where you can plug in your USB-C cable and headphones. However, the SD card hole is blocked while this is on there. Also up top, the clip blocks the volume buttons and most of the power button. A tiny little bit of the power button sticks out so you can can still poke it with your fingernail, but it's a bummer that you lose access to your volume buttons. You can deal with that by adding a settings widget to your home screen, and then you can tap that to get your system volume control when you need to do that. This shallow trough area here is where the cable goes. The actual cable is this nice and thin USB-C cable that's just long enough so you don't have any floppy cables sticking out. My cable is a temporary dumb one so I could get this video out on time. I'm going to take this out when I show you stuff about this thing just because it just kind of gets in the way. When it's closed, the screen rests on this plastic part here. The hinge has three kind of levels that it snaps to: 120 degrees and 150 degrees and 180 degrees. It's not super strong. If you flop it around, the hinge will kind of snap on its own, but it's strong enough that it doesn't do that if you're just holding it like a normal person. Only if you shake it like a psychopath. The actual quality of the hinge is fine. I mean, I don't know how long the hinge will last. I don't have crystal balls. Hinges very often have problems, so I'm not going to say that this hinge is going to have problems or not. I will say that to me, it does feel kind of cheap and flimsy compared to other hinges in my life. But that might actually be a good thing for longevity. Since it's loose, that might mean that it won't snap as easy. You know, like a tight, firm hinge might be more likely to snap than a sort of looser hinge. I don't know. No one knows. We won't know until thousands of people abuse it. Today, all I can do is give you some hinge ASMR, and you can do what you want with that. When it's closed, the hinge sort of hovers over the screen on the RP5, well clear of the sticks. This thing was obviously made for the RP5, but it can work great with tons of other different handhelds. It actually feels wonderful with the RP Mini. It fits on there nicely, and it feels so cool to give the RP Mini this huge widescreen that pops up. However, with the Mini, the screen touches the thumbsticks when it's closed. It doesn't close all the way, so it's not quite as elegant there. And on the RP4 Pro, it's the same. The screen is wider than the sticks, and it rests on the sticks. I'm actually not super worried about the sticks touching the screen because it has a good thick lamination on there. It looks like it's not going to be a problem, but again, who the heck knows if it's a problem that the screen rests on the sticks of these smaller doodads? Time will tell. One other handheld that I can show you is the Neo Pocket Ace. And yeah, it fits great on there. It's snug around the volume button. If it's not in just the right place, it kind of holds the volume button down, but when it's on there right, it's perfect. On other devices like the RG406H, it does fit, but the USB-C hole is off to the side, so you'll need to come up with a different cable solution there. So I think on lots of handhelds, it's doable, but not ideal. I did try plugging this into my Steam Deck, and it did work. However, there was a buzzing noise coming from the screen. This screen does not have a speaker. It shouldn't be making noise. That freaked me out, so I unplugged it right away. Don't do it. If you're looking for a second screen for your Steam Deck, wait for the DNA Dual. That thing will definitely work with the Steam Deck. Don't even try using this one. It'll probably explode. I was worried when I saw photos of this that it would be top heavy. The RP5 isn't a heavy device, so adding a screen up there made me think that the whole thing would become all floppy feeling. And it does a little bit, but not nearly as much as you'd expect. Lots of the weight is actually in the bottom clip part, so it kind of balances out. I do think it'll feel better with the grip attachment, but even without it, it's fine. It's a bit more top heavy on the RP Mini, but again, it's not bad. I was gaming on it for like an hour straight and it didn't bother me. But I have huge muscular fingers and wrists, as you can see, so if you have the wrists and fingers of a baby, you might not enjoy it as much as I did. Real quick, just a heads up, I'm still waiting for the official OTA update for the system from Retroid. However, it was taking them longer than expected, so as a stopgap solution, they gave me an updated version of the Quick Step launcher that adds in the functionality. I don't know if the actual OTA update does more than just the updated launcher, but my Retroid contact said that there's no extra like extended desktop stuff on the system level or anything. I'm pretty sure that this is basically the final form of how it's going to work. So how does it actually work? Like, how do you even use a second screen on Android? Honestly, it's a bit janky, but once you embrace the jank, it's actually kind of awesome, like that raccoon I adopted. Android itself is not designed to support dual screens. Some Android builds have desktop mode that can do that sort of thing, but none of these handhelds have that. So by default, the top screen will just mirror your main screen. However, in the updated Quick Step Launcher, you can long press on any app and pick which screen it will launch on. And then when you launch that app from the Quick Step Launcher, it'll launch on the screen you chose. This only works in Retroids updated Quick Step Launcher, so you won't have custom launcher support here. However, the APK for the Quick Step Launcher can be installed on other handhelds. I don't think they're going to guarantee compatibility, but I installed it on my Odin Portal and it worked fine there. The screen didn't fit on the device, but it did work properly, and I don't see why it wouldn't work on basically any Android handheld. So long as your Android handheld has USB-C video out, you should be able to use this like this. So if you want to have a TechDweeb video playing while you play a game down here, you can do that. Or vice versa. You can launch your games up top and play YouTube down here. The top screen has full touchscreen support as well. Some apps treat the top screen different. For example, YouTube launches the Android desktop version of YouTube, but it still works. This thing kind of turns your Android doodad into a multitasking beast. Retroid knew that your main wish in life was to be able to watch TechDweeb while you play Burger Time. And now you can. And speaking of gaming, this is cool. I discovered that if you launch ESDE on the top screen, you will also get RetroArch launching there. So on the RP Mini, if you want to play 4x3 or 16x9 games, you can totally use this screen instead of the bottom screen as your main gaming screen. This basically turns the RP Mini into a widescreen device, which is pretty cool. Now, some emulators will require both screens, obviously. If you're playing DS or 3DS or even Wii U, you're going to want to make use of both screens. For this, we rely on the built-in second screen compatibility within the emulators themselves. The good news is that it's mostly good to go. If you want to play DS games, Drastic has dual screen support built right in. You can set the second screen to show just the DS top or bottom screen, and then you can switch the bottom screen on the fly, so you're good to go, more or less, with DS, at least with a standalone app. RetroArch doesn't have dual screen support yet, but who knows? Maybe if devices like the Retroid dual screen add-on become popular, that'll change in the future, if it's something that lots of people want. For 3DS, you'll need to use the latest version of Azahar, the release candidate version. That has dual screen support added, and soon enough, this will become part of the mainline version. What's cool here is that it just worked right away. I literally didn't even touch the settings. I started a game and the top screen is the game screen. It instantly worked. That was pretty cool. Wii U is the one system that is still janky. You'll need to use a special beta version of Cemu that adds dual screen support. But in this early version, you only have the option of putting the gamepad on the external screen, not the main game screen. And you'd think that might be fine. You could just use that for your gamepad screen, but the touch screen doesn't work. Actually, it does, but the bottom screen is where you need to do touch. And you can't see the stuff you're touching when the touchpad is up top, so you have to kind of guess where the buttons would be. It's super janky, but this is like a first beta version with dual screen support. I have no doubt that this will be working properly in some future Cemu release. That's kind of the deal with dual screen stuff on Android right now. It's early days. Not many people needed it before, but once Retroid starts sending these screens out, there's going to be a lot of folks suddenly trying to figure it all out. So I suspect that a lot more apps and emulators and even front ends will have better dual screen support real soon. And if nothing else, at least I can watch myself fail in 2 places at once. The biggest asterisk to me saying that this thing is perfect is latency. There is very slight but noticeable latency on the top screen compared to the bottom screen. It feels like 1 frame of latency, maybe 2. You can really see it when you're sliding menus back and forth. The top screen kind of lags behind the bottom screen just a tiny bit. It's not terrible. I can totally use it and game, and depending on how sensitive you are and the games you play, you might not even notice it, but it is a thing here, and I have to admit, I do notice it in some games. As it stands, it's not a deal breaker for me, but it's definitely a thing. Like a squeaky chair. Fine most of the time, but maybe disappointing once you start thinking about it. Which brings me to my final thoughts, and honestly, yes, I'm sold. I meant what I said at the start. I used to think dual screen gaming on Android was just too janky to be worth it. And in my defense, it was, before these emulators started properly supporting it. But now, I was surprised at how easy it was to set up, how well it worked, and how fun it actually is. Like DS games. That library alone is reason enough to consider this. Turning your RP5 or your RP Mini into a proper DS machine is just so cool. Even just to have an extra screen while you're gaming, it's nice. It's nice to have. It's nice to be able to watch stuff and game at the same time. Look up walkthroughs, all that good dual screen stuff. Now, any handheld can have that superpower. And speaking of superpowers, the RP Mini V2 is a little beast. I love that guy, but I'd never play DS or 3DS on it, or never PSP, nothing widescreen. But with this screen, I would. The Mini has the horsepower, and this screen lets it flex its muscles, like I do, all the time. So many muscles. For the price, I think this is an excellent product. The screen is great, and it really upgrades your device. It kind of transforms your RP5 or your RP Mini into something way more useful. That said, I probably won't keep it attached to anything full time. I've loved using it over the last few days, but this feels more like something that I'd bust out for serious gaming sessions, not something I'd leave on all the time. But maybe that's just me. Maybe you'll love it full time. Maybe I'm just a dweeb. Maybe, definitely.